Alright, guys, here we are. The aftermath of Aunt Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi's deaths. Impaled through their foreheads by occult spikes. Brutally murdered. Poor George had to see everyone he loves get killed today. And just the thought of that fucking broke Battler down. Man. So I assume it's going to be a bit of a cool down period. There's going to be more mourning. People are going to try and cope with it all. Battler seems more and more, with each thing, with each thing that happens, he seems more and more out for revenge, determined to catch the one responsible. And I mean, pretty sure the one responsible is just Beatrice. All right. Oh, yes. Before we got started here today, I said at the end of the last episode I would wait until the start of this one to take a look at the new updates for our dead aunt and uncle. So let's check them out. We'll start with Hideyoshi. Ushiramiya Hideyoshi. Found in the bathroom of the same guest room that Eva was found in. Like Eva, there was a weapon resembling an ice pick sticking out of his forehead. You can't see either of them by looking through the gap of the door while the chain is set. You can't see them. You can't reach them. Hayes, how could a human possibly kill them? Hee 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 hee. Very, very Maria-like thing to say. Huh. You can't see either of them by looking through the gap of the door while the chain is set. You can't see them, so you can't reach them. Hayes, how could a human possibly kill them? Hayes, probably comma, how could a human possibly kill them? Okay, I think I understand, like, what that is. That seems like Maria talk. Alright, let's check out Ava's. Ushiramiya Eva. Because they both have forehead things. The blood is, like, based on where their wound is. Found on the bed of a guest room inside the mansion with a weapon resembling an ice pick sticking out of her forehead. Oh, she didn't have anything. Interesting. Everyone else has something. Has a reminder to lament his ill fortune. Everyone will be revived in the Golden Land. Huh. She was chosen by the demon's roulette. That's all there is. If this is Maria, I mean that's a Maria thing. Could these all be spoken by the same person? Is Maria commentating? And in that case, is this not Rosa but Maria? Just because of the key-hee-hees, suddenly I feel like Maria's saying all this stuff. Wait. So I kept talking about how Maria's showing no emotion. She's not upset about her mother's death at all. If this is Maria saying it, then that would explain why she is not upset. If she's fully aware of the situation, if she's fully aware of the Demon's Roulette, fully aware that everyone's going to be revived, she knows she's going to get to see her mom again. So she's not upset. She's like, well, I'll see her pretty soon. No big deal. But the other ones don't quite seem like things Maria would say. He has a right to lament his ill fortune. Apparently he's supposed to be on duty, and that, like, those don't scream Maria, so I don't know. That's interesting, though. If these are Maria's words, then it would make perfect sense why she's so calm and acting the way she is. All right. Let's keep that in mind as we move forward. Natsuhi announced it, as though she didn't care whether they agreed or not. If anyone had a right to object, it would have been George, but he looked as though he'd shed enough tears. George nodded slightly, still facing away from the others. Hold on. She said, lock the room. Okay. And when he stood up, everyone else agreed too. Natsuhi still hadn't opened that Western envelope with the family head that she'd picked up. But now that they had decided to leave this room, she decided to unseal it in the parlor where everyone could watch. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, I want to know what the letter is. As soon as they walked out into the hallway to head back to the parlor, some of them immediately felt something out of place, or maybe sensed something strange. Huh? Stinks. Stinks like what? Like rotting flesh, or... When everyone sniffed the air, they did notice a horrible burnt smell drifting through the hallway. One that none of them have smelled until then. Okay, burning. Yeah, something wasn't left on in the kitchen, right? After noticing a burnt smell, it was natural that Kumasawa, who had just been using the burner in the kitchen, suspected that her own slip-up had caused it. Kumasawa hastily dashed away.
Kanon, Kumasawa to ikinasai. Hitori ni sasenai youni.
Good thinking. Makes sense. After nodding at Genji's order, Kanon followed after her. He wasn't running, but as he followed her, he tried to search for the cause of the smell in other directions as well. What do you gotta say, Maria? That's it? Okay. Natsuhi was reluctant to open the windows in a situation where self-defense was so important. Does he need a few minutes, man? Okay. It seemed that George had managed to climb out of the abyss of sorrow. All that filled his chest now was the quiet flame of hatred towards the culprit who had stolen the lives of the one he loved and his beloved parents. Yeah.
バラ庭園の倉庫の時はシャッターの鍵を使用人室からこっそりと持ち出したのだろうとか。あるいは複製の鍵を持っていた可能性とか、いくつか方法が想像できた。
Yeah, there's an explanation for the storehouse. There's no explanation for this.
でもチェーンは違う。
Yeah.
チェーンは一般に浸透した施錠方法の中で 最もシンプルに密室を構築できる。
チェーンだけは物理的に破壊しない限り外からはどうにもならないぜ。
which it was not broken
じゃあつまり犯人は扉からは出
till we
入
broke
りしなかったってことなのか。
こりゃ面白いや。つい数時間ほど前にも扉以外でどうやって部屋から出入りしたのかってみんなで騒いだ気がするぜ。
I mean, obviously it's not a murder suicide. That could not have been possible, but back then we were all losing our cool, wondering how grandfather had disappeared from his room. The receipt on Ava stuck in the door on a whim proved that the door had remained sealed. So this is our second room, where it seems seemingly no one could have gotten in or out, but it has happened. So it's a repeating pattern. And since Aunt Natsuhi was the only person to enter or exit during that time, she was under suspicion. Aunt Ava proposed a theory about how Aunt Natsuhi might have thrown grandfather out the window and left by the door herself. But this door is much simpler. It was sealed from the inside by the door chain. The window had also been locked from the inside, and the bodies had been inside the room. This time it had really been, without exaggeration, a true closed room. That's right. If you include grandfather's disappearance, 3 cases have occurred, and all 3 times, the door has been the point of interest. Oh, yeah, okay. Interesting. The first was the shutter. There was a key in the servant room, and if we assume someone knew about that, this can't really be called a closed room. The next was the door sealed by the receipt. However, Aunt Natsuhi entered that room, so if grandfather had left through the window or been thrown out, she would have been able to lock the window before escaping. Or, like my theory, grandfather could have hidden until the receipt was gone and left the room later. Basically, this door can be defeated with a handful of desperate tricks. In that sense, you can't really call this one a closed room either. And now we have the door sealed with the door chain. Finally, we have to give up. The window, the door, everything had been locked. It was a perfect closed room. The first hadn't been a closed room because everyone could be suspected. The second hadn't been a closed room because Aunt Natsuhi could be suspected. But this time, no one can be suspected. This was a perfect closed room because the door chain formed a seal that blocked everyone equally well.
なら犯人は室内に入らずに犯行に及んだ。
It's been a while since we've seen Beatrice in the portrait. I don't think that's possible, George. I don't know how that...
部屋の外から何らかの方法で。
No. No. There's no way.
確かにチェーンである以上人が通れるほどは開けなくても多少の隙間を開けることができる。
Someone was in the bathroom. Like, you can't get through the crack in the door all the way around to the bathroom.
ノックして顔を覗かせたところを襲うとか。
Are you kidding me? They're laying in bed and in the shower. They're not in front of the door.
甘いか。
甘いよな。エヴァおばさんの遺体が扉のすぐそばだったならそれも考えたぜ。だがエヴァおばさんは部屋の奥のベッドの上。しかも秀吉おじさんはバスルームだった。チェーンの隙間からでは姿を見ることもできねえし手を伸ばすこともできねえ。ちくしょう、全然ダメだぜ。さっぱりだ。
Something was tugging softly at my sleeve. Oh. Maria? It was Maria.
Oh,
Hi, Maria. I see you look quite happy today.
満足?
Oh. Oh. Something that simply could not be done as a regular person. Something you had to be a witch to do, which is a true locked room.
満足って
Yeah. There it is.
バトラは親族の誰かを疑うのが嫌だから犯人はベアトリーチェであってほしいと願ったよ。だからベアトリーチェは叶えた。バトラが言った通り、絶対に人間には無理なことをしてバトラに魔女の存在を信じさせてくれた。
You know, it's just right there on the side of impossible that it's so close it makes you think that there's something you're missing though. Like it gives you like a that tiny little inkling like wait, maybe I'm not looking at this from the right perspective, or there's some angle I'm missing that allowed it to happen.
なのにわがまま。
Oh, oh, okay. I thought he pulled an Aunt Rosa and like smacked her for being disrespectful in front of George. If he just like kind of like bonked around the head a little bit with his fist, that's okay.
ああ、叶えてくれてありがとうよ。
I was about to flip my shit if he really like was like, bitch, watch your mouth, and just smacked her across the face like her mom. I would have been like, whoa, Battler. Like, Jesus Christ. Alright.
今のはその例と、不謹慎な時に笑ったことへの教育的指導だ。
Did it actually hurt? Like, I can only imagine like a little bonk not being that bad.
それより教えやがれ。エヴァおばさんたちの部屋の扉にもまた怪しげな落書きがされていた。あれもまた魔法陣なのか。
What is it? What does it say?
あれは特に覚えやすい特徴的な形なんだからあのくらい知っててほしいね。
I actually drew out the magic circle on the shed door and labeled and everything they told us. I don't think it's going to matter. I might have been a waste of time to copy all that down. Like there were 4 kings, 4 gods, 4 elements, like, and then there was the Old Testament psalm written around the circumference. But if they give us information about what was on the door one here, I will copy it down again just in case, so I have it in case I need it. He keeps doing it.
知らねえから花を持たせてやってんだ。ごちゃごちゃ言わねえで解説しろい。
バトラは暴力的だね。
He's like, quit your fucking witch act and tell me what I need to know.
あんまり意地悪すると教えないよ。
Oh,
あ、痛い。
this fucking guy.
言うよこの気配
That's great.
あれは月の1の魔法陣だよ。
Of the moon. Okay.
その魔法陣のご利益は書かれてるヘブライ語の意味は。
記されているのは旧約聖書詩編第107編の16節。
Okay. Actually, do I don't think I have. No, I don't have the first drawing on me at the moment, so I can't see what the previous psalm and verse it was.
主は聖堂の扉を破り鉄の栓抜きを打ち破ってくださいました。
I did say this kind of reminded me of a prison, so iron bars and stuff definitely, ring true with
魔
that.
法陣の効用は2つ。
Okay.
一つはいかなる方法によって閉ざされた扉でも開くことができる。
Oh.
そりゃ便利な魔法だぜ。つまり魔法の力に頼らなきゃ開けぬ密室の扉っていう 魔女様のアピールってわけか。
She's gonna be like, no, they
もう
are.
一つの紅葉は
開かぬ扉を八方塞がりの事態に見立て扉を開く。
Unopenable doors in all directions.
難解な事態の時に用いることでそれまで思いつきもしなかった解決策を与えてくれるんだよ。
You're saying if you're trapped somewhere and there's no way out because every door is blocked or locked, it gives you an escape somehow. Or opens one of the doors, I
平
guess.
たく言うと観察力や洞察力、ひらめきや直感を授けてくれるんだね。
Does it just give you those? Because that's not like physically opening something. That's just like increasing your, you know, how you perceive things and think about things.
ベアトリーチェはバトラごとき人間風情にこの扉の開き方がわかるものかって挑発してるんだよ。
I was waiting for it. I was like, bonk, it's coming.
よーし、もう黙れご苦労。
This is great. I love the new dynamic. This is great.
上等だぜ。その魔女の挑戦受けて。
マリアちゃん、この世に魔女も悪魔も存在しない。
Oh boy.
父さんと母さんは誰かが殺した。それが僕のよく知る人間なのか知らない人間なのかはわからない。でもそのどちらであっても必ず人間なんだ。
しかしどうやって。せいぜい10センチ程度しか開かない扉の隙間からどうやったら室内の2人を。
それにしても耐え難い匂いです。
Oh, I forgot about the smell.
一体何事なのですか？
Are Kanon and Kumasawa back yet? Kanon and Kumasawa, who had gone on ahead, realized the smell wasn't coming from the kitchen, even before they arrived there. That was because they noticed an even thicker wave of stench rising up from the stairs leading to the basement, which they passed on their way to the kitchen.
ボイラー室。
Boiler room. Really quick. I have not looked at the third Twilight thing. I just want to have it in my head. Wait. No. Epitaph. Next. The third Twilight, those who remain shall praise my noble name. So on the third Twilight, I assume we can expect... I mean... I almost feel like that means Beatrice is going to arrive and people will praise her noble name, maybe meaning like recognize and admit that there is a witch, maybe? That, or, I mean, we don't know like Kanon's real name and stuff. I don't know. When I say noble name, could be just Oshiramiya, and maybe Kinzo will show up again. I'm not sure. Not sure.
またボイラーの調子が悪いんでしょうか。
Those stairs led to the underground boiler room. We've never seen down here, I don't think. The mansion's boiler was old and in poor condition. Both of them had witnessed problems with the boiler on several occasions, but they had never smelled the boiler belching out a stench like this before. Slam.
今の音は。
What? The thing they heard from the basement was definitely the sound of a door closing. Kinzo? Maybe? Kumasawa had phrased it as a question, but she already knew it couldn't be anything else. Kumasawa was so surprised at that sound that her knees gave way yet again, and she cowered. After all, at that very moment, no one could have been in the boiler room. That's That's always like a scary thing to think about. Like you're home alone and you hear like a door from somewhere else in the house close or something or open, and you just be frozen in fear. Like that shit's so creepy to think about. I feel like it's got to be Kinzo, right? Maybe Kinzo escaped to the basement and that's why no one's found him. No one's gone in the basement. Maybe. Just a few seconds ago, everyone had been crowded together around Eva and Hideyoshi's room. So who caused the sound of a door closing just now? Kanon, you're not gonna go look by yourself, are you? Oh, Kanon, bring a buddy. Isn't that what we're doing now? We're not going anywhere without partners? Kumasawa is not gonna be any help to you up on top of the stairs. Damn it. After taking a second to sort out the situation, Kanon ran down towards the basement. Since they'd heard the sound of a door closing just now, and there was no sign of anyone coming up the stairs, the person who'd closed the door had to be inside the boiler room now. If the boiler room had been a dead end, Kanon wouldn't have rushed in so hastily. But Kanon was a servant, so he knew. There were two entrances to the boiler room, one that opened to the mansion and the other that opened to the courtyard. If he didn't chase them now, they might slip away. Kumasawa reached the same conclusion long after Kanon did. I feel like that's the second time now that they've said that, like almost that exact line about Kumasawa like being slow on the uptake and not getting something for a little while. But she couldn't let him go alone, or she's gonna go down. If the thing in the boiler room was the culprit, an opponent who had easily killed 6 adults in the first murder, then no matter how Kanon confronted them, he wouldn't be a match. It's not like, yeah, this is what I'm saying. Of course, with this argument, even if Kumasawa joined him, it wouldn't change anything. Exactly. At any rate, after a delay, Kumasawa decided that she mustn't let Kanon go alone, and she rushed down the stairs. Okay, new background. At that time, Kanon was already in the boiler room. The boiler room's characteristic damp heat tormented him. Is the smell the worst down here? Can you smell it still? It had always been an unpleasantly smelly and hot place, and on top of that, the room was full of that horrible stench, which made Kanon feel like he was going to be sick. There was no doubt that this room was the source. In that case, Kanon should have been searching for where the smell was coming from. However, Kanon kept gazing straight forward as he grabbed a hatchet from a tool shelf just off to the side of the door. He hadn't stretched out his hand because he wanted the hatchet. He wanted to grab any weapon. Does he see someone? Why? Holy shit. Kanon gazed into the darkness where the naked light bulb couldn't pierce. Then he answered.
ルーレットは数字と赤黒にかけて配当を競い合う。
What?
だが赤か黒かのようなリスクの低い賭けはその程度の配当しか与えられない。
I just realized something about the whole roulette thing, and I'll bring it up at the end of the episode, on the outro. The words coming from Kanon's mouth were swallowed up by the darkness. That darkness suddenly started to swirl, glittering. What? What's going on? Oh. We know what butterflies mean. It's going to cut away to a different scene, isn't it? Oh. What? What? What is this sound? How strange. Is this Beatrice not able to take form, but there? Oh man, it was such a fantastical scene. Golden, sparkling butterflies that hid in the shadows all over the boiler room, flapped their wings, twinkling beautifully, and gathered in the darkness, disappearing. Kanon continued speaking, directing his words at the darkness as it swallowed the butterflies up. But as the butterflies gathered in the darkness, they, perhaps, probably, no, they would certainly laugh. But Kanon continued to speak without faltering in the slightest.
逆により的中率の低いかけ方をすればそのリスクに比例した配当が与えられる。
Okay.
親方様は天文学的なリスクを的中できることを奇跡と呼び
Succeeding despite the astronomical risk. Yeah, okay.
その結果得られる天文学的な配当を魔法と呼んでいた。
Okay.
親方様とお前がどんな魔法を求めてルーレットに挑んでいるのかそんなことには興味ない。
So is it not actual magic or but something else? I mean, it sounds like magic.
しかしお前は忘れている。
He's definitely talking to Beatrice.
ルーレットには赤でも黒でもない目が出うることを
Yes, there is.
忘れている。
Well, sometimes two pockets, right? There's the 0 and the double 0. Sometimes roulette wheels don't have either of them. Sometimes they have 1, sometimes 2. Roulette has a special pocket called 0, which means that the house takes everything in certain variants of the game, unless you bet on 0. This means that all of the coins bet on the table will be swept up, just as though everyone has forfeit.
僕は一つだけ心に決めていた。もしシャノンが殺されて僕が生き残るようなことがあったならこの身を投げ出してお前のルーレットを全て台無しにしてやろうと。
Oh, okay. Bring it
こ
down.
れは親方様が決めたルールでもましてやお前が決めたルールでもない。
Is that something that furniture does, Kanon? I thought you were all gung-ho about being furniture who has no desire, no say. Now you're talking about going against Kinzo's rules.
このルールは僕が作った。
Interesting.
僕は
Oh.
もう家具じゃない。
Oh.
お前のルーレットのゼロなんだ。
Oh. I like it. I like it. Kanon's face twisted with humiliation. It was clear that his defiance against his own weaknesses was being ridiculed somehow. Kanon's brow creased even further, and a fierce expression that he'd never shown to anyone appeared on his face. The hand grasping the hatchet was shaking. His sweat became drops which slid downwards. It was clear that the emotion causing Kanon's hand to shake wasn't just anger. However, Kanon suppressed that emotion.
僕はもうお前の言葉に惑わされたりはしない。
What in...
悪魔のルーレットはこれでおしまいだ。地獄にてさらに1000年次の召喚者を待つがいい。
What are you gonna do? You can't just use a hatchet and swing at butterflies. That's not gonna do anything, is
ベ
it?
アドリーチ
When Kanon raised the hatchet and tried to dive into the darkness definitely sneered. It sneered at that courage as if it were vulgar, lazy, futile, and meaningless. What's happening? Oh! Oh, shit. Don't fucking... What? What the hell was that? Alright, first of all, game... I am on edge when I play this game. Do not fucking flash things at me, because I always think I'm gonna get jump scared, and that kind of felt like one, even though it was just the portrait. Second of all, there was a sound of, like, liquid. There was a laugh. Why did we flash to the portrait? Did he just activate something? Is something happening? Oh my god. Kanon, his hatchet still held aloft, couldn't take another step after that. With a clang, the hatchet that he'd been grasping fell and rolled on the floor. And following that, with a pair of thuds, Kanon's knees hit, left then right. That hand, which looked like it was trying to catch the sky now that the hatchet had been dropped, gradually lowered, landing on his chest. Then the other hand did the same. Right there, a handle with a demon-shaped design was buried into his chest. The same type of weapon that had been stabbed into Eva and Hideyoshi's foreheads was in Kanon's chest. I'm sorry, what? We just had the more death last episode. This is 2 episodes in a row. Really, Kanon? Kanon was curled up in anguish, fresh blood dribbling from the corner of his mouth. It was makeup too extreme for Kanon's white skin. How did it do that? It seems like it's just a... Well, I mean... It's too bad someone else couldn't witness this, at least. Well, Kumasawa did, but... I mean, this is all the proof you need that there's no... that there is a 19th person, that Beatrice is doing the murders, that she's capable of murdering. That you shouldn't be suspecting the rest of the family. Around this scene, the glittering gold butterflies danced through the darkness, mesmerizing. It was a beautiful, beautiful dance, a funeral march of tribute, ridicule and contempt for a single boy's self-sacrifice. Kanon had already been prepared for his own death, but although he could do nothing but accept the death he had received, he attempted one last measure of resistance. He grasped the handle of the weapon sticking into his chest with both hands, and gritting his teeth with an acute, unearthly pain, he pulled it out. Oh, man. For only a moment, a bright red spray gushed out. It made an unpleasant bloop sound. Yeah, I heard that in the background. That's disgusting. It probably resembled the sound of Kanon's soul as it was sucked into the swamp of the dead.
Kanon-san?
You weren't in here? You didn't see it happen? No! Someone needs to be able to report this. Damn. Kumasawa screamed at the incomprehensible sight in front of her. Kanon was lying in a pool of blood. Kumasawa's heart was a complete mess. Ah, what a horrible fate. He wouldn't have been killed if I had been with him. Ah, what incredible luck. If I had been with him, I might have been killed too. You know, I did have those really weird doubts about Kumasawa at the start. With her weird fourth wall breaking, like, exposition dumps to the reader. But if these are her real thoughts, then she genuinely was scared for her life and was upset she wasn't there. So I don't think she's suspicious anymore. I think those scenes will just write off as a way to just give exposition to the readers. As she screamed, her expression was filled with complete confusion, and all the muscles of her face were pulled up, almost as though she was smiling while crying. But no one could have made fun of an expression like this. Ugh. The first one to dash in was Natsuhi holding the rifle. Battler and Genji dashed in after her. Normally, they probably would have started discussing the origin of that violent stench in the boiler room, but after they saw Kanon, who was lying on the ground as if he were drowning in an ocean of his own blood, the stench wasn't important anymore. Natsuhi realized that even though Kanon was on the verge of death, he was still conscious, so she sent Genji to get the doctor. Natsuhi, holding the rifle aloft, faced the darkness at the center of the boiler room and shouted. Ugh.
おとなしく出てきなさい。そちらから出てこないなら容赦なく撃ちます。
ライトだ。おばさん、照らすぜ。
Battler, thinking quickly, took a large flashlight from the tool shelf alongside the door and used its light to cut through the darkness Natsuhi was glaring into. But the light only shone on mechanical-looking piping and a door. The door had been left open a small crack, and it was obvious that someone had left through there in a hurry. Damn it. The courtyard.
ゲンジ、あの扉はどこに通じているのですか?
You're not sure? I guess you don't come down here?
中庭です。
逃がすかよ。くそ、この野郎。
Battler let out a war cry as he slammed into the door. Man, this music. Cool air from outside suddenly rushed in. There were some thin, rough stairs leading up. Battler ran up them, shouting. Natsuhi was also rushing up the stairs, chasing after Battler. They were in the courtyard. The courtyard of the mansion had been built strictly for lighting purposes, so it wasn't a very elegant place. Because it was surrounded on all sides, the air was calm and completely undisturbed, even though they could hear the sound of strong winds. There was only the gentle, sorrowful rain. As he ran through the cold and scattered raindrops, dashing up the stairs into the courtyard, Battler looked in every direction. Of course, the odds of him finding a suspicious silhouette just standing around nonchalantly were pretty much zero. Battler spun, looking all around. He turned again and again. He kept spinning until he almost lost sense of his direction. He prayed that he would see the culprit somewhere in this scenery. But there was no chance. All he saw, as he spun, was more and more of the mansion's heartless walls and windows. Furthermore, there were 2 entrances into the mansion from the courtyard, and neither of them were locked. Because the courtyard couldn't be entered from outside the mansion, the doors had been built without locks. He didn't know which one they had left through. Yeah, they're gone. He had to give up. Battler pounded the wall with his fists, swearing. It's interesting, Battler made a comment when they first got to the island and they sat at the table how like he hardly ever talked to Natsuhi, and so they hardly knew each other, and there was a little bit of awkwardness, I guess, because of that. But now they seem like the two most capable people running the show here. They're like the tag team leaders almost. It's pretty neat to see these two like as a co-op team.
一人で先走ってはダメです。ワトラ君。
Battler pressed his forehead against the wall, which he scratched at with his fingernails as he cried.
畜生畜生畜生エヴァおばさんに秀吉おじさん、さらにカノン君かよ。6人も殺しやがった。飽き足らずさらに3人も殺しやがった。
Yeah.
ふざけるな、
Nine
ふざ
left.
けるな。エヴァおばさんも秀吉おじさんも昔からいつも優しくしてくれる愉快なおばさんたちだったじゃねえかよ。カノン君とは昨日会ったばかりだが、きっとこれから仲良くなれたと思うぜ。なんで殺したんだ。どうして人ってのはな、タケノコみてえにひょいひょい生えてきちゃこねえんだぞ。
You saying that almost makes me feel like, I mean, I don't know what's coming, but we have seen lots of words about resurrection and, I don't know.
どうして殺すんだよ。どうして
It's not gonna stop me from getting emotional about these things. Especially the fucking Shannon one. Jeez, man. Battler was a boy who could understand the feelings of pain and regret in a person's heart. So he cried with all his strength. Natsuhi, who had always thought Battler as a frank person, was a little surprised to find he had this delicate side, and at the same time she understood how easily hurt the heart of a young person could be. So she held him.
大丈夫です。
I really like this. This is my best girl and my best boy like coming together, like teaming up and comforting each other, and this is great.
あなたもジョージ君もマリアちゃんもジェシカも
I'm really glad that
私が絶対に守ります。
Battler and Natsuhi are getting closer.
母として、そして後ろ宮家の代表として。
Battler, after sobbing into Natsuhi's chest for a while, wiped his tears with a bitter smile, as though he had been like that the whole time, and tried to appear as though he'd cried more than enough already.
とにかく一度下に戻りましょう。犯人を探すより自分たちの身を守る方が最優先です。明日になれば船が来る。そうすれば警察がやってきて全てを白日のもとにさらし出してくれるでしょう。
I don't think it's gonna be that easy.
犯人がどうあがこうともこの島から逃げられるものですか。
そうっすね。警察さえ来れば。
When the seagulls cry, the crime will be solved. Man. The storm's not gonna stop tomorrow. The seagulls are not gonna be crying. But for some reason, Battler felt a slight sense of uneasiness, as if the seagulls would never cry again. Yeah, it's not gonna happen right now. That couldn't be true. When the typhoon passes, surely the lively seagulls will return to the harbor again. Holy crap. Alright. Man, we just see Battler breaking down over and over again. Every time. He just seems like he's suffering more and more every time. And Natsuhi coming over and holding him, and I don't know. I want them to grow close. I think like you know, aunt nephew tag team kind of mystery solver kind of thing. Be pretty neat to see, especially just because of how awkward they were a couple days ago in the game and not really knowing each other. It's neat to see that relationship change. Wow. R.I.P. Kanon. Another person to cross off the list. Damn. Oh, I did want to say, let me just double check that I'm absolutely right here. As far as roulette goes, roulette. Right, so there are 36 spots on a roulette wheel, right? I think there's some significance here with the fact that there are 18 people on the island. 18 potential deaths. And we've lost 9 of them. So exactly half. So we've lost, I mean, that's quarter of a roulette board, but what does it mean? There's 18 people on the island who are all being taken off by the Demon's Roulette. There are 18 red numbers, 18 black numbers, exactly. Of course, I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know what connection I'm trying to make. I'm just saying there's I'm getting a strong sense that has some significance. You know, the way a roulette board is built and, our count of people and everything. I'm just going to keep it in mind right now because I don't know, like, what kind of point I'd be trying to make here with it. But yeah, I'll just keep it in mind. I'll write it down in my notes and see if it goes anywhere in the future. See if anything sparks in my head. Okay. At the beginning of next episode, I assume Kanon's got a... No, he does not yet. So I assume maybe during next episode he will be taken out, and when he does, we'll read it. When I hear that tip, if I hear the tip, I'm still not quite sure what it sounds like, but we'll get there. We'll get there. All right, man. These episodes have just been ramping up like crazy. It's just getting more and more intense every time. Ugh. So much different from the first, 6+ hours of the game. So much different. Okay, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll hit our 20th episode next time, I believe. Unless this was the 20th. This might have been the 20th, actually. We'll begin going into the 20s. But yeah. I will catch you guys next time. And thanks for watching. Goodbye.